So I've got a Cohiba Siglo 2 tonight for a change. Main reason being, by the time I got back to Leeds this afternoon, the tobacconist where I normally go and pick up my Siglo 6s from had shut. And the only place I could think of that were open at that time were this. If you go up Briggate in Leeds and you get to the hedgerow and you keep going as if you were going to Grand Theatre, then a few shops up on your right hand side there's a wines and spirits shop, and they have a humidor. It's only small, the humidor, and they have a small selection of cigars. Amongst them are these, the largest Cohibas they have are the Siglo 2s. Any port in a storm, I say. I do prefer a Siglo 6. These 2s, they were £18.50 a piece. The Siglo 6s work out at about 33 quid. Well worth the extra. It's funny actually, one of the vids I uploaded last night, a couple of, I don't know, are they arsey comments? Are they negative comments? I think they're a little bit arsey, a little bit negative. And I normally don't really bother about such comments. I just think, well, yeah, go for it. But one of them in particular, this guy had written something to the words of the effect of, the last thing you light a cigar with is a Zippo lighter. And it's funny because my father isn't over fond of Zippo lighters. My father smoked. He smoked ever since I've known him. I suppose since birth, really, then. And he always uses a gas lighter or one of them cheap throwaway lighters. I love Zippo lighters. I like my cigars with them. I like my cigs with them. Now, my father's one of these who he doesn't like Zippo lighters, and he says that they leave a taint of petrol throughout his cigarette. I don't know about that. And I don't know that they leave a taint of petrol through your cigar. At the end of the day, I know that's bad English, but at the end of the day, life's about what you like and what you enjoy. And I like a Zippo lighter. And if you like using a Zippo lighter and you want to light your cigar with a Zippo lighter, then go for it. If you like to... what other examples can I give? I'll tell you what springs to mind. Years ago I read, there used to be a columnist in the Sunday Times, I think it was. It was either the Saturday Times or the Sunday Times. It was the Sunday Times. And it was a guy, he was, like myself, he was an homosexual. And he had a column in the Sunday Times about giving advice. He was sort of an agony, it was sort of a posh agony uncle. And he said in one piece of advice that he gave to someone had written in, and in his reply he gave this piece of advice. He was talking about manners and etiquette, and he said that manners were English and were designed to make people feel comfortable, and etiquette was French and was designed to make people feel uncomfortable. And how this relates as to what I'm saying about this Zippo lighter is, these people who say, oh, you shouldn't light a cigar with a Zippo lighter, they're the sort of French people. They're the ones who like to use etiquette, and they go around saying things like that, attempting to make people feel uncomfortable. Whereas actually what you should be in life is you should be well mannered. And you should appreciate that we're all different and we all like different things. Another thing I'd say, I always remember years ago, watching this programme about this really top flight chefs, one of the top chefs down in London. And after his shift on a night time, he would go to this cafe, and he was asked in this interview what his favourite meal was, and he described his favourite meal as being the meal he would have at the end of his shift, and he would go to this cafe in London, and it was something like beans on toast. It was something like beans on toast. I don't think it was beans on toast, but it was something like that. And to many people, that had really surprised them, that this top chef, his favourite meal was beans on toast. Whatever the meal it was, he expanded on it and said that this meal reminded him of his youth and his grandma cooking for him, which helped to make it why it was his favourite meal. It had that provenance about it. There's a nice French word for you. It had this provenance about it, this meal. In a similar vein, it's funny, when I started smoking cigars years ago, whereas most people think of smoking a cigar with a glass of brandy, or maybe a glass of port, what I used to love this. When I lived in Leeds, I used to have a flat in Leeds overlooking the market. Funnily enough, overlooking what had been at one time one of the original gay nightclubs in Leeds, called Primo's 2. My flat and its balcony overlooked the old nightclub. When I lived there, it was still a nightclub, and it was called the Twilight Club. It was a 4x4 club. Always a load of trouble there. It used to be really entertaining on a Saturday night. But many moons ago, it used to be this gay nightclub called Primo's 2. Anyway, when I used to live there, that's when I really started smoking cigars. That's when I'd go out and buy cigars and take them back to smoke. And I used to love to make a cappuccino. I'd make a cappuccino, I had a stove pot to make my coffee, and I'd warm my milk up in a pan and then froth it up. I think I once made a video showing people how I made a cappuccino coffee. So it'd be a really thick froth on top of this cappuccino coffee. And then I'd sit down on my balcony and I'd smoke a Cohiba cigar. And smoking the cigar and drinking my cappuccino coffee. The two just went together for me. So again, you know, we've all got different tastes. Some might like a brandy or a whiskey with cigar. If I'm having sex, if I'm with somebody else, then yeah, I do. I'll have vodka and coke or something with a cigar, or you know, something a bit stronger. But if I'm on my own and I'm just savouring a cigar, then yeah, I used to love a cappuccino. At the end of the day, do whatever you fancy in life, just as long as you enjoy it. That's all that matters.